This is all the trash that we made in a month.
Let's get into the video to see how we even got here.
Welcome back.
It's Maleea.
And now I'm Jay.
We are a couple that are pursuing lifestyle changes, and we've been documenting those through our YouTube channels. We have done no sugar, and now we're doing zero waste. So if this is some content that you're interested in seeing, please make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss our videos. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, the average American produces about 4.9 pounds of trash a day in 2018. So that's roughly about 1,700 pounds a year per person. So by reducing the trash you create, you can literally save thousands of pounds of trash from being sent to the landfills.
And it also proved that one person really can make a difference.
Yeah.
To top it off, only 9% of plastic actually gets recycled.
9% was recycled.
Plastic releases greenhouse gases once sent to landfills and takes hundreds of years to disappear. All plastic ever created is still on Earth today. And plastic often breaks down into microplastics, which pollutes oceans.
Overconsumption is also a huge problem here in the States, at least. Unknowingly, we create waste through plastic cups, takeaway packagings, plastic bags, and styrofoam boxes. Due to the demand of our consumption, factories naturally overproduce. This takes up resources and energy that further pollutes the environment just to fuel consumerism only. Shockingly, 1/3 of the food produced globally for human consumption annually, which is approximately 1.3 billion tons, gets lost or wasted.
That's a lot. Literally tons of.
Literally a ton. This kind of thing kind of made us want to get more into zero waste and at least figure out what it's all about and how we can at least live more sustainably. But before we get started, we wanted to let you guys know that it is impossible to be zero waste. This movement is called zero waste, but of course it is impossible to produce no waste. So the goal of zero waste really is to minimize or decrease the amount of waste that you create, but we don't want it to be confused with not creating waste at all.
That's impossible.
That is impossible. As long as you are existing,
Yeah.
you are going to create waste.
So if you want to do literal zero waste, you're gonna die.
So throughout these facts and a lot of the videos that we've been watching, we decided, okay, let's see what zero waste really is. Although we gathered plenty of information from our good friend Google, I wanted to ask my even better friend Taylor about her experience as a zero waster.
Zero waste is kind of just a blanket term for the lifestyle of reducing your waste, but it's really hard to actually be 100% zero waste. As I said before, I consider myself low waste, but it's just a lifestyle of trying to be the best you can be at being sustainable and eco-friendly, anything that you can do to help the environment and save the planet.
So how did you get started into zero waste? How did it begin?
So my best friend, Brittany, from elementary school, we met up one day for dinner to catch up because we hadn't seen each other in months. We were ordering and she asked how something came packaged. We sat down and I was like, why did you ask, how something was packaged? And she goes, oh, I'm zero waste. And I was like, what does that mean? I was like, what? And we just got in a whole conversation. I mean, we were together for hours and she was telling me about how she lives her lifestyle. And I was like, I could do that. I was like, I could definitely make those changes because I feel the same exact way. I just didn't really know there was a terminology. So at the end of 2018 is when I started going zero waste. And I can absolutely speak from experience about trying to be perfect. The very first year that we were zero waste, I mean, we went hard. Like we had, both Justin and I at our house produced 1 bag of trash for the entire year. 1 bag of trash.
One bag.
Yeah.
People throw out 1 bag a week.
Exactly.
Because the trash comes every week. So can you tell me about your typical week? Like what does it look like, especially for grocery shopping?
Yeah.
Kind of take me through the process of what you do.
This is probably the part where somebody would describe as hard. Sundays we have to go to 2 places. So we have to go to Findlay Market, which farmers, vendors market.
You want this in paper?
Yeah, that I can do. Thank you. I'm sure a lot of people come through.
That's where we get all of our meat, produce, our cheese, because local vendors there, they all know us and they all accept our containers. And then downtown Cincinnati, if you've heard of Simply Zero, and she just opened up a refillery. So every couple of months I go and get refills in my shampoo bottle, my conditioner, my soap dish block for dishes. And she has tons of other options. Like they're like big pumps, and like you take your own bottle or jar or whatever it may be.
With this newfound information and a good luck from Taylor, we were on our way to get into that zero waste space and see what we can do and what works for us. We're gonna talk about the products that we used throughout the house and how they worked for us. So let's start with the kitchen. In the kitchen, we decided to include our first swaps, especially because I feel like a lot of trash comes from the kitchen or from food, whether it be food or the packaging the food comes in. And so a few of the things that we decided to swap out were our Ziploc bags. We decided to get silicone bags that we can use. We also swapped out, I wouldn't even say swapped out because we just didn't have one, but we finally got a reusable bag to go grocery shopping with, which honestly, we should have had that already. I don't know what we were waiting for.
And aluminum foil.
Yes, an aluminum foil. So when baking, we decided to get a silicone baking sheet. By making these swaps, we were able to eliminate the need for single-use plastic when grocery shopping, and also when we stored and cooked food at home. Honestly, because of our previous challenge of no sugar, this part of the challenge, I guess, was a little bit easier for us. We had already been not eating a lot of packaged food and more whole foods anyway, because we've been decreasing the amount of sugar. It was more just switching the bag and going in person versus just ordering online.
But I think for me, the hardest part is eating meat or fish. It's like when you buy fish, like it comes with the plastic bag.
With the silicone bags, we were able to get meat. So sometimes I did have to ask them to not add that. And they were like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yes, I got this." So it's possible for sure. I think what you have to do when you are going to these farmers markets is to be prepared and to be confident, right? If you go up to them and you're like, "Can I please?" They're like, "No." But if you come in like, "I'm gonna have this and I'm wanting to put it in this bag," they're like, "Well, okay, can't really argue with that."
And grapes. Every time we go to Kroger, it's in the plastic bag. So luckily in farmers market, we could buy grapes without packaging.
Which was really good.
The thing that I don't like about our silicone bag, it's not dishwashable.
I thought that Taylor said she had some, and I thought that ours were, but they weren't. So I'm gonna do some research to see. Yeah. And of course, the silicone baking sheet also worked well. I think for us, we wish we had a flatter baking sheet because right now the sheet kind of like comes up on the edges and then all of the juices pool inside.
It doesn't fit.
Yeah. If you're just baking like baked goods, I've made cookies and everything, that always turns out fine. So as far as those swaps, I say that they worked pretty well for us.
So we did the kitchen, and after cooking, you will have food scraps. So that's when you have to do composting. So before we started this challenge, we knew actually nothing about composting. So after doing some research, this is what we learned. All composting requires 3 basic ingredients: browns, greens, and water. Browns are more woody materials rich in carbon, like paper and tree branches. Greens are materials rich in nitrogen, such as leaves, grass, and food scraps. And these materials are wet with water to break them down into soil, which takes between 2 months and 2 years.
Wow.
There are many different ways to compost. You can compost either in your backyard, if you can, or even indoors with a special type of bin and taking your compost to a local drop-off location. When we started the challenge, we ordered a small compost bin and we started to gather all the food scraps or use paper to compost, even our vitamin packaging. We ended up filling up within a week. Composting itself is actually really simple. You just dig a hole at least 12 inches deep so that it doesn't make any odor. Put the mixture of browns and greens into the hole and then chop them into small pieces because this will speed up the process of degrading. And then add some more greens like leaves or grass clipping and then just cover them back up with dirt.
Food waste is clearly one of the biggest things that we as a society struggle with. And I would have to say myself too. Like if I go out and buy something in bulk, let's say I go out and buy a loaf of bread, I will only make one sandwich within the time frame that I need to use all of the bread. I don't, because I'm not gonna eat a whole loaf of bread in a week. So I think it's really about just being conscious about what you're buying and asking yourself if you really need it, or if you do need it, do you need to buy that much?
Yeah. Your eyes are bigger than your stomach.
Yes, that's exactly it.
I learned that.
Yes. Bathroom waste is also pretty high up on the list. There were definitely a few things that we decided to swap out because, I feel like when you think about it, you also make a lot of waste in the bathroom with your products and you just toss them when you're finished.
Every bottle is plastic, usually.
The least you can do is recycle. But there are some swaps, like I said, that we did. So one of the first things was Jay's conditioner. From the previous video, Jay was talking about how he wanted to switch his conditioner.
So I was trying to buy conditioners, but I didn't want to buy plastic one. So if anyone knows better options, let me know.
And some people suggest that Lush's shampoo bar is called avocado co-wash. It smells
So good.
amazing. But when you go to the bathroom, you can smell it. The whole bathroom.
Yeah, before you even step in, it's like you're about to step in and the smell is like...
One thing, expensive.
Yes. We didn't do a price analysis in this video, but if you're interested in a price analysis for zero waste to see if it's more expensive or if it's really worth it, please let us know. Comment so that we can see if there is an interest in that.
And also, you changed your tampons.
I did. Instead of using tampons, I did start using the cup. And I'd have to say, when I first got the cup, I wasn't in love with it. I kind of hated it. But the problem was, I got one that was too big. I got the bigger one because I thought that my flow would warrant a bigger cup, basically. And so, I just had a hard time putting it in, had a hard time taking it out. And I wasn't with it. But when I went back and got a more beginner-friendly one, I was able to use it more easily, and I ended up really liking it. It definitely is more hygienic in the sense that when it's in, there is no leakage, basically. So it looks, it just appears as if I don't have my period. But also tampons, for me, because I do have a heavy flow, I do use up a lot of tampons. Switching from using 5, maybe not 5, but 4 tampons a day or something, just using this cup and never needing to throw it out is really great. That decreases a ton of waste that I was producing personally for the bathroom.
So you're using the big one?
Oh, so right now, right now I'm using the beginner-friendly one still because it's only been a month. I've only had one period since. And I think that I will use the smaller one for at least a few more months and then bump up to the bigger one if I feel like it's necessary. I'd have to say that I like it a lot and I will continue to use it.
That's good.
And you guys might be thinking, well, Maleea, didn't you just create waste by buying 2 different types of cups but only using one? And the answer is yes. Yes, technically I did create some waste right there. But taking into account what Taylor said, it's a learning process. It's a journey. It's trial and error.
Making mistakes is part of the game. And it's all about trial and error and finding things that work for you because something that works for me may not work for you, and that's perfectly fine. And the best thing about the zero waste lifestyle is that there are multiple options for, certain things. Right. It's not about being perfect. Right. For sure.
All right, so now we're getting into the miscellaneous items. So what other things that we use throughout the house that didn't really classify as kitchen or bathroom, but we still swapped out?
I would say cleaning. Before the challenge, we used a lot of baby wipes.
Well, I think that also because we were spending a lot of time in Korea, And in Korea, they use baby wipes for everything.
Yeah.
You use it to clean, you use it for the baby, you use it for yourself, you use it for the floor, you use it for everything.
It was me.
Yeah,
I was.
yeah,
So I was like, "Oh, how can we do this?
yeah.
How can we do this zero waste challenge?" But actually I just swap with just towel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just wash it and reuse it. That was really simple. And I kinda like embarrassed by that. Like, wow, multi-shoe was so wasteful.
Yeah. We also used wool balls
Oh,
for our
Yes.
laundry.
Yes. So we bought 3 wool balls instead of dryer sheets. So dryer sheet is just literally trash. Every single use
Yes,
trash.
just
So
trash.
we just changed it and it works perfectly. There's no cons.
No cons.
No cons.
Yeah.
So you can use it for 1,000 times and you can just put some essential oils that you like and just
Let it
dry
go.
it. And it bounces off in the dryer and it makes clothes dry faster. So it's great.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So not only are we getting less waste, we are having faster drying clothes
Yeah.
with a scent that we can choose. Well, of course, you can go out to the store and buy any scent that you want. But I think having the freedom to just add essential oils each time, whatever scent you want to have, I don't foresee us not using those for some time. And when that time does come, we'll just buy some more. Something that I actually got as well is a portable silverware. So instead of using plastic at work in particular, I just bring my own, and that helps me to decrease because, if you're working in an office, there's always going to be some kind of sweets, desserts, whatnot. You also have to eat when you're there. And so just using my own and just washing it off when I'm done, I generate little to no waste at work, which is pretty great.
We already have our own tumbler that is great. You can just drink water. You don't have to buy plastic water bottle. And also when we go eat outside, we should bring our own food container so that when you have leftover, you can just bring the leftover
Yeah, right.
in your container, which is not styrofoam or plastic.
Yes.
It is exactly what Taylor said. You need to prepare.
We're done. And one other thing that I decided to buy when going downtown, there was a zero waste shop and they had this lip balm in a compostable container, basically, instead of buying like Carmax or I guess any other lip balm because it always comes in plastic. Yeah. And I'd have to say that it just works fine, works well.
I mean,
It's just a lip balm.
just lip balm.
It was a little bit more on the expensive side, but I feel like you're paying for the ability to compost it. I guess in normal circumstances, you wouldn't be able to recycle the plastic that it usually comes in. So, like I said, that will be something in a price analysis kind of video. So let's save that for later. Okay. Overall, we would probably say that it wasn't that hard for us to shift our lifestyle to accommodate a more zero waste friendly environment.
So I separate them into categories. These are shopping bags.
Okay.
And also when we order some food, it was in the plastic bag. And these are from the items that we order from online. And these are just plastic bags that
Had food in them. So this is from food packaging itself.
actually most of it is from the food that we already had.
I don't think any of these are from new purchases.
Yeah, we didn't really buy it.
Yeah, none of this stuff is from new purchases, except maybe something like this because that comes on the top of peanut butter. So I would say that most of our trash actually stemmed from ordering. So I feel like it's a really good point to think about when you do order something. Think about all the packaging that comes with it. It's it's going to be not so zero waste, but of course, like we said, you're always going to create some waste. As a result, I feel like we're going to continue, right?
Of course.
Yeah, I feel like it wasn't too hard for us to incorporate these, but also I want to let you guys know that everything that we did might not work for you. And that means that you should just try out and see what works for you. It's kind of like natural hair, right? We are always in the process of trying new products to see what fits our hair type. And that's exactly what zero waste is. Trying these products, It's making these swaps to see if it fits your lifestyle. And if it doesn't, then you don't have to do it.
And also, there are a lot of swaps that we didn't try yet.
We purchased a lot of these items because we were either out of it or didn't have the item in the first place. So when you are looking into these swaps, when you are thinking about making a change, also think about, do you really need the product? That's kind of the heart of zero waste and minimalism, really. Do you need it? Do you really need this product? And if the answer is no, then you can just wait.
Before we start the challenge, we watched the video with mason jar with 5 years trash. So it provoked so much. So wow, we gotta do this.
Triggered.
And also, on the other hand, I was like, can we do that?
Yeah. Like realistically speaking, we can't.
And so actually, when we start, we wanted to do big mason jar, just put trash in that jar. But we made more than that.
The reason why we made more than the jar's worth is because we already had single-use plastic items in our house before we started the challenge. And so in order for us to really do the mason jar challenge, we would have needed to already replace everything. And that's not really feasible either, because just because we're doing this challenge, going and replacing everything and buying new items is equally as wasteful as just using the single waste in the first place. So we thought that the mason jar wasn't really appropriate, but we did want to show how much trash we accumulated either during the 1 month time or after we've used certain items that we already had during this time.
Yeah, I think we just realistically showing that the process of being zero waste challenge.
Of starting to be zero waste.
Because we literally just started. So it's just like a natural journey.
Yes.
And after that, we will not make that many of trash.
With all that being said, at the end of the day, government intervention is probably the best thing that could happen for us so that we can everyone, decrease our waste. Because if they can come in and regulate how the waste is being treated once it does leave our hands, then it would be a little bit easier for us all.
It's like also like the country, the government, the industrial level.
Yeah,
so,
right.
But that's not all of it. We all gotta work together as consumer level. First step is you can start today.
So like the number one thing when I was making the zero waste swap is to acquire the mentality that before you buy something, look at it and say, where is this gonna be in a year? Where is this gonna be in 5 years? Where is this gonna be in 10 years? And so if you answer right off the bat, I'm gonna be done with it, it's gonna sit in a landfill for thousands of years, then you probably shouldn't buy it or find an alternative for another option for that product.
Right.
That's like a really good
Place to start.
Yeah, place to start, along with the research of what is plastic, where does plastic come from, how long does it take to degrade down, where is all the plastic, because fun fact, all the plastic that has ever been produced is still on this planet. It's either been recycled, it's either sitting in a landfill, it's in our ocean, it's in our ecosystem, and it's just all still here.
Yeah. We haven't been here that long.
We haven't been here that long, which is why it's just crazy for me to think about the fact that, you know, humans haven't been on this planet for so long, but we're doing so much damage. Which makes me really sad, and which is, you know, one of the huge kickstarters as to why I started getting into the lifestyle and why I'm so thankful that Brittany brought me into the lifestyle. So it's I think that the more people hear about zero waste, the more it'll encourage people to just do those 1 or 2 switches. You know, you don't have to switch your entire lifestyle. You don't have to be completely zero waste.
Right.
It's just about making a couple switches here and there. And the more people that hear about it, it creates a bigger impact. So like a bunch of small changes can make a big impact. And that's the biggest reason why, you know, I'll keep talking about it to people that don't want to hear it because...
Because please.
If you found this video interesting, why don't you start your first step? You can say no to plastic bags when you go grocery shopping.
If you are looking for more tips and tricks, feel free to comment below so that we can get to them. Or if there's enough interest, we might just make another video about it.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.
See you later.
Wow.